Hey, Tiger fans, Ben Rosenbaum here for another edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Sonia LaMonica. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So, Coach, last week, two games, one at Temple, one at Georgetown. You split, losing at Temple 12-8, defeating the Hoyas 17-14. Looking at the game against Temple, you fell behind at the end of the game. You're able to mount a comeback. It just falls a little short. Just your takeaways from the game against the Owls.
Well, we had 3 games in 7 days, and that midweek game, that travel, was just one of those grind weeks, unfortunately, that showed, in what I would say is we had 75% to give, and we gave 100% of that 75%, and Temple was operating at 100%. I felt like they seemed fresh, well-rested, and we did not look as such. So, I do think we battled back, but too little too late. We dug ourselves in a big hole, and just one of those games that felt pretty funky from the beginning all the way through to the end, for lots of various little reasons that I think all combined can be a bit of that perfect storm for your team. So, I think we sort of showed our resiliency after sort of 2 days of practice following and bouncing back against a strong Georgetown team. So, overall, it was a very challenging week, and I think we did show some resiliency down the stretch.
Yeah, you mentioned the Georgetown game. It was kind of almost the opposite situation than it was at Temple. You get a lead. Georgetown keeps trying to mount the comeback. I mean, it was a huge second half. You were up 7-3 at half, and then it's, I think, 10-11 if you just look at the second half between you and the Hoyas. What does it say about your team's ability to have a tough loss against Temple and then be able to withstand a comeback attempt, a push from a strong Hoya team, especially I'll get into that in a second. Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we had a good warm up. It was short, sharp, and sweet. We seemed fresher. Our legs seemed better, and mentally we seemed ready to sort of really move forward. And that was the messaging coming into that game: is we need to not dwell on our past loss, just let's learn some things from it and move forward. And that's the beauty of quick turnaround games, is you don't have time to sit around and dwell on those mistakes and issues. So we just mentally stepped out in a better place. And Georgetown, they're a solid squad, and their style of offense really tested our defense down that stretch when they mounted that comeback. They had that 5-goal run, really testing our middies defensively and our low defenders with their constant drives, ISO and drives. And, that's where, I think we showed sort of a bit of, I think that's just where we dipped a little bit, and we, we're getting a little tired, and then we were able to sort of regroup after some time out and continue to work fresh legs through and bounce back. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I think that was a great test for us, and we did show that, we've got a talented group, and when they work together and we play smart, good things will follow.
And the point I was going to make off of that is this is a new look team, a young team for you in terms of experience. Obviously, you have people like Sammy Chenoweth, Raina Deltuva, Shelby Stack, Caitlin Thornton, but Blair Perry only played 6 games last year with the shortened season. Lindsay Marshall, obviously a freshman. You bring in transfers through Nikki Sliwak, and there's obviously Nat Miller and Olivia Malamphy are new in terms of playing time. The Liucci's getting more playing time. Is there a level where games like this, weeks like this, where you play 3 games in 7 days, are good for a team that is still coming together or in its early stages of getting to know each other, where they need to learn how to play in some of these games?
I think that's important regardless of your game week. Obviously this has just been a different year for everybody engaged in college athletics. And I think the chemistry piece has been a challenge for most teams who have had pauses and cohorting and those things of those nature. And we knew that coming into this season, that chemistry is going to be one of the most important things. Trying to get scrimmages even just inner squad scrimmages as much as possible in preseason. But yeah, I mean, every game is an opportunity and gains experience. And certainly we've been fortunate. And again, I have to credit our, our medical staff and, our trainers and such for putting down the framework and the protocols. And we've had a strike of good luck with the opponents we've been playing, that they haven't had pauses thus far. So we've been able to get a number of games under our belt. And I think that's been a very positive thing for us. So, not everybody has been in that position. So far we've been able to, hold on to every game this season and not have anything cancelled. So that's experience. So any game, and certainly having a run of multiple games in a week, is going to really test your adversity, force your team to, come together and play smart. Really, you got to play efficient. And that's where we had some lapses. We weren't playing efficient in Temple when we really needed to. If we're tired, if we're a little run down, we've got to play smarter. So that was probably the biggest piece we learned coming out of that.
Coming out of this week, also some accolades for your Tigers. Erin Williams, CAA Defensive Player of the Week. 4 caused turnovers for her against the Hoyas. And we talked a little about Erin last week, especially coming off that Stony Brook game where she did a great job on Oldmiller. Tell me a little more about Erin and what makes her so special and a great weapon on the defensive side.
Erin's one of those players. She's quiet but carries a big stick. She's one of those players. She's fierce in how she plays. She's very disciplined as a defensive player. She's smart though, and she's quick and she's athletic. And she's, she's not in it for the accolades. I mean, hopefully not any of our players are in it for the accolades, right? But certainly she's just a very, very down-to-earth, humble individual, and she digs into the work, and you got to love it about her. And I think all of our coaching staff and our team too were really thrilled to see Erin get a little bit of credit for, what she's continued to do since even as a freshman she came in, and she's been a constant individual on our defensive unit, and there's a reason why. It's because of all those skills and qualities she has, and she just plays super selfless. So it's great that she's getting a little bit of love, and that people are starting to notice her a little more.
Moving forward, as you staying on the road at St. Joseph's, going back to Philly, the Hawks 2-3. You'll take them on March 20th, Saturday at 3:30. They've had a lot of close games. All their claims, just a handful of goals, one way or the other. Defensively, Pash, Newman, Farr, and Platt do a great job causing turnovers for them. They lead a tough defensive unit. What's the key we talked about Erin, we know about Sammy and Malamphy and Nat Miller, but what's the key for an offense when you've got a couple of people on a defensive unit that can really get the ball out? What's the important thing to key on there as you get ready to take on the Hawks?
For our offense, you're saying?
Correct, yes. Sir.
Yes, for our offense. St. Joseph is a hard-nosed team. Like us, they're hard-nosed. They go hard. They don't back down to anybody. So, for us going in, we can't be surprised by that. We've constantly got to remind ourselves that we've got a target on our back, being a ranked team, whatever you want to think and make of that. We can't get caught up in that. We just have to remember that we're looking to get out and play our best each game and looking to improve upon ourselves. So, offensively, again, it's going to take a great team effort. It's going to take a team that, again, is going to be resilient, who are going to be, strong finishers, which we showed we can do in Georgetown, putting up, a lot of goals, and really doing it together as a team, and being kind of prepared for anything, being prepared for some physical play, and not being surprised by that will be key for our offense. So, at the end of the day, we can't control our opponent. We just have to be prepared to step out in the field and adjust as the game goes on, which is something we talk about a little bit too, whether it's your opponent, whether it's the way, the style the officials are calling the game. We have to be malleable in that way and make sure we're making adjustments as quickly as we possibly can.
All right, the Tigers and Hawks hit the field up in Philly Saturday at 3:30. Number 14, Towson taking on the Hawks on the road. Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck this week.
Thanks, Ben. Great talking with you.